Season 2 of the Pat and JT podcast.
Oh man, I'm here at last. The first time, always gonna be the best. Come on!
Exclusively on the Hurrdat Media Network.
It's Pat and JT, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And then 402-403-9478. You can get your texts in and email us, hey@patandjt.com. Many ways to get a hold of us.
Absolutely. So some really sad news this weekend. This is 2 weekends in a row that we've had some really sad news.
Yeah.
Betty White last weekend and Bob Saget this weekend.
Talk about just shocking Bob Saget, though. I mean,
right?
Betty White, not that it's not sad, but it wasn't shocking. But Bob Saget's like, what?
65. Way too young.
Yeah.
Way too young. And it just started a new tour. And so obviously when you want to talk about things that are about Hollywood, you go to Hollywood experts.
That's right. And that would be, we have our very own in-house
correspondent. He doesn't know it. He's a Pat and JT correspondent.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He's not getting paid. It's pro bono.
We are from the streets, Hollywood correspondent for Pat and JT show.
You'd get arrested.
That sounds so important.
Adam Glyn from the Hollywood Raw podcast is here. And late yesterday when we found out that Bob Saget had passed away, you had sent over a video, and I think it had been posted like last summer. But you actually had a run-in with him. You know, you met up with him on the 16th of July last summer. Explain that. Well, first of all, let's play the video quick for everybody to watch this, and then talk about Bob Saget. Here we go.
Hold on. I gotta be good to other people. Right on. I appreciate it, Bob. I hope you're all.
Bob, did you ever take anything from the Full House set?
The barometer in the living room.
Did you really?
Did you say me to ask you? Thank you. It's all over my podcast.
Podcast is good though, right?
The podcast.
I love it.
Sorry about that. Okay. All right, dude.
What else you working on, Bob?
I got a movie thing and a tour, stand-up tour. Nice. And just trying to be nice talking to you.
He seemed like such a nice guy.
Dude, he was the nicest guy. That's the craziest part is, like, I saw him so much this summer that because he for some reason he was doing a lot of shows in around the New York and tri-state area that I saw him so much that I just stopped filming. In that video specifically, I saw him so much I wasn't even filming him. But then another paparazzi came and started filming, and then I said, you know what, I'll start filming it on my cell phone. And you just never know, like, things like this are going to happen. And then I just took video. I wasn't going to do it at first, but I took video just to have, and I never did anything with the video. I just put it on my Instagram story just as, like, for fun. And then this happens this weekend, and it was just wild because I saw him so much this summer, and I got to say, he always seemed so happy. He seemed so healthy. He had this wife that, like, was, like, fun and cool. You can see they had a great relationship. She was, you know, and it's just, it's wild. Do you remember, like, we were on a Zoom meeting and I saw him and I was like, hey, Bob, and he jumped real quick on the Zoom meeting with us.
Yeah, I forgot about that till you mentioned it. Yeah. You've done that so much. Having you on a Zoom meeting is like having a squirrel in your bathtub. Like, you are all over the place.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say, do you think the reason you saw him so much this summer is he was getting ready for this tour? Like,
Yeah,
he was prepping.
He was prepping for the tour, and he was doing shows. He was doing shows like in West Nyack at Levity Live, and I think he just enjoyed New York. He always wore the same outfit too. He's always wearing like a black shirt and a black, like, light denim jacket over the shirt. He always wore all black, the same outfit always. And he was like back on the road. You know, he just enjoyed doing stand-up, and that's the one thing you could say. He went out doing something he loved, which was stand-up comedy.
Interesting you say that. His last post was at like 2 a.m. after his second show on this new tour, and was just like ecstatic.
Yeah.
Loved it. Loved the people. Had a great time. Didn't know he went for 2 hours. You know, it was just like,
And, you know, a lot of times when people pass away, everybody talks about how great of a person they were. But I've seen clips since he's passed away of people saying that while he was alive to his face. So that says a lot about him.
He was the type of – this is what I'll say about him. Like, again, for my job, I meet a lot of celebrities. He's the exact person you wanted him to be when you met him. He was fun. He was cool. He understood the joke of Danny Tanner. Like, he made jokes about it before you did, you know, like that. He was just the guy you wanted him to be. He was very good to fans. He was very good to people. It's just it's crazy. It's crazy. You know what's funny? I know a lot of broadcasters who I talked to last night that reached out to me because I posted a photo with him. And everyone had the same story where after they did an interview with him, he sent them a private note afterwards saying, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. And it's just crazy that everyone had that kind of experience with him where it says like if you give people that you make people feel great, they'll always remember how you made them feel. And I know 4 different people that reached out to me last night saying that Bob sent them a note, or even sometimes a handwritten note saying thank you so much for your time, I really appreciate it.
I saw Candace Cameron had posted also just the best human being she ever knew. And I'm sure she was just as shocked, probably more shocked than most of us, because she grew up with him like a second dad.
Yeah, I mean, you see the relationship he still has with like John Stamos and Dave Coulier, even like the Olsen twins. Like he had this great relationship with these people where they all enjoyed him, and he also hung with a very cool crew. He hung with John Mayer. He hung like all these people loved hanging out with him. And here's John Mayer, who's a rock star, who he could say he could be hanging out with Jennifer Aniston and all these cool people, but he chose to hang out with Bob Saget because he was that good of energy. He was that good of a dude. It's just one of those things where it's just like, it sucks you start to say this stuff when he passed, but like I think everyone also just always knew what kind of guy he was. He was just a good person. Like it was just like fun. It was cool.
Exactly. You never saw a scandal. You never saw anything. It was always good stuff, right? It was always good stuff that he brought to the TV as well. As far as the shows he chose to be a part of.
Well, it was crazy because he was a dirty stand-up comic, and he embraced that. He didn't hide from that. Like it was just like he enjoyed that stuff. Him saying these like terrible, crazy jokes over a guitar, and like he played along with it. Like it was just like, he embraced being Danny Tanner. Then he also embraced being this dirty, crazy comedian.
I remember when Full House was huge. At the first run of Full House was huge, and he hadn't been doing stand up for a while because he was focusing on Full House, and he finally started doing stand up again. And I remember it was him or somebody else from the Full House, whatever, came out and like, listen, don't expect Danny Tanner when you go see Bob Saget live. They wanted to prepare people that he wasn't Danny Tanner.
Because it was shocking.
Right. They're like, what is Danny talking about? So, but I think people loved that, the juxtaposition of those two people.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, if you listen to his stand-up, it was very fun. But I think a lot of people who maybe went to go see him perform, they weren't ready for the stuff he would say. I mean, he was filthy, but it was fun. It was charming. Like, it was like, he said it with wit that he was like trying to, like, you knew he was joking. I think you were just also in shock, but he was a fun comedian, but he was also just, I know in person, he was just a fun guy where he beat you to the punchline when you saw him. Like he was the first one making Danny Tanner jokes when you saw him, and like and it was just like, it was funny. It was fun, but it was also, Full House is also a great show. You can say what you want. Like we make fun of it, but at that time, everyone watched Full House. It was great episodes, and he was like the king of dad jokes on the show. And it's funny because how old was he when he started doing Full House? I mean, he wasn't even that old of a guy. I mean, he had to been like late 30s, 40s, early 40s, I guess. Like
he was born in 56, and it looks like I was just looking up some of that stuff. It's about 87 was when it started.
87. I mean, yeah, 87.
30. He was 31.
He wasn't a young. Yeah, 30? He wasn't a young dad, but he played it so well on the show. Like when we think about for that show, he was perfect to be casted from a comedian to do that show where a vulgar comedian started playing like this very square dad, but he played it excellent. Like he did a great job on the show.
He did.
And then let's be honest, he also did other acting stuff. Like remember in Half Baked when he came out,
right? Yeah,
when he was like, "You ever do that for Coke?" I mean, that was a classic line where people, people are quoting for years. Danny thing, that was a huge thing. Like, did you hear what Bob Saget said in Half Baked? Like that was funny.
And I'm glad that he, at least as of right now, that what the medical examiner is saying is there were no foul play and no drugs involved. And that's when somebody like this passes away so quickly or so unexpectedly. The first thing that I said to my wife, and my wife said to me, is like, I hope there weren't drugs. Was it an OD? Was it something we didn't know as the public? And thank God, as of right now anyway, that's not the case. Because man, we've had some little PTSD from that over the last 5 or 6 years of people you had no clue and then they OD'd. But thank God that's not it.
Yeah, it's crazy how many people like are reaching out to me just like, hey, like thinking I have the inside dirt. And usually I do, but in this case, it's like it's wild because there's been no foul play so far. It's just sad. I think people are just in shock because a guy's so young and just so kind of happy and healthy just passing. It's like, whoa, okay.
You want a reason.
Yeah, you want a reason.
Because it's too real for people and too relatable if he just died. It's like, okay, it had to be something extraordinary. There just had to be, because it couldn't just have happened. There must have been something. And and his children, do you know how old his kids are?
They're a little bit older. I don't know. His wife was like younger than him, but still like very into his wife. I remember seeing him in New York City this summer, and he's always like kind of hanging out with his wife, and she seemed very cool and just, I don't know. She was a very cool person. Like it's just wild, man. He was just.
The first thing my wife said last night when she got online and looked at them on social media was like, "Oh my gosh, his wife posts so many cute things of them. Like you could tell they enjoyed being around each other."
Yeah, they would go for walks.
They hadn't been
go for
married
lunches.
that long either. I think they just got married like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's just, I saw him so much this summer. It just became a joke. It was like, "Oh, hey, Bob," like, it was just funny. It was like, "Hey, Bob."
Wasn't there a movie called Hi, Bob? I don't know, something like that.
I think it was. Yeah,
it was a Bill Murray movie.
Yeah, Hi, Bob. Yeah. Or, what about Bob? What about Bob?
What about Bob? That's right.
That's a classic.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob. That's the part 2. That's the sequel. Hey, Bob. All right, so Adam, we'll let you jump because I know you guys are for Hollywood Raw episode this week, which is going to drop early. You're going to be interviewing Gilbert Godfrey, who's a great friend of Bob Saget. So thanks, buddy, for taking the time to come on with us.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You got it, buddy.
Thanks, Joe. See you guys. Bye.
You got
See you
it.
later. Bye.
Wow, that's just something.
Yeah,
that's just. I'm glad. I'm sure he's still trying to catch his breath too, because granted he wasn't in the inner circle, but he still saw him all the time.
Yeah, right.
It'd just be like, what? That's. And they were first name basis.
So it's just so bizarre. I hate seeing that those. I remember like when I saw it online last night. I saw it and I got that like instant like no way, and like the tingly, like you're kidding me. The same way I felt when all of a sudden it came out on Twitter that Kobe Bryant had passed away. It's like shocking news. It's like what?
Well, anymore it's kind of gotten to the point on like Twitter when somebody's name is trending. Very rarely is it because they died.
Yeah.
Very rarely. And it's almost a dumb joke when somebody says, "Oh, you guys, don't be trending so-and-so's name. I thought he died." And I'm like,
right.
That just doesn't really happen often. It's not as often.
It doesn't happen that often.
It's not like that,
right.
But and see him trending would make sense anyway, because he's got the new tour and everything else is going on. And literally the second stop on this like 20 city tour.
Mm-hmm.
And he did 2 nights in Florida, and then he was taken off to go to another state, and was ecstatic. Like I said, that post that he posted at like 2 a.m. in Florida, and he was discovered in the morning in his hotel room, and just no good reason. So sad.
Super
so sad. I know it. Gosh darn it. Well, on the upside, I'm going to go on the upswing here. The weekend overall. A pretty darn good weekend around here. My dad's birthday was
cool.
yesterday.
Happy birthday to Gene.
Yes, and so we had a great time and got to go out to eat and everybody's doing good. So he had dad's birthday.
That's good.
Got that taken care of. Yeah, it's kind of like one of the bookends to a really fast time. Once about November, you got Thanksgiving, and it goes Thanksgiving, and then it's my birthday, their anniversary, Christmas, New Year's, and Dad's birthday. It's just like every week there's something going on.
And then it's 11 months of nothing.
Yeah.
Right? 11 months of nothing.
I will throw this out there. Weirdest thing. I don't even know. How did I find this? I don't remember how I found this, but was it a video I was watching or something? And they were talking about, no, I know what it was. There's a TV show on. It's BuzzFeed does a couple of TV shows, and it's like I really want to like it, but it's really stupid. But it's called Unsolved, and it's on Hulu right now. There's one for crime, and there's one for supernatural, and it's kind of good. Like they take short stories, and sometimes the episodes are only 10 minutes long, but they just talk about something. One's a conspiracy theory. What do you want to call it? Kind of, he's for it. He loves this kind of stuff. The other one is always poo-pooing on everything. And so he's just telling him the stories, and the other one's saying his little dumb comments. And anyway, one of them was about the Illuminati, which I thought, oh, okay, let's see what they got on this. He found a website. And so I went to the website, and it is IlluminatiOfficial.org, no less. And then there's an Illuminati website as well, because supposedly this isn't going on now, because it was like in the 1700s was the Illuminati, and they talked to some professor, and professor said, well, they don't exist anymore. But there's a website with a how you can join the Illuminati, or you can
join the Illuminati mailing list. That sounds super
right?
weird. Yeah.
And so then it has links for all their social media. They have a PR person, which I thought was hilarious, that he had actually reached out to get an interview with the Illuminati. Hold on, I got to tell you what this says. I had to grab this because it was just too funny. He sent a note out to ask for a contact, and wrote back and said, unfortunately, members of the Illuminati are not currently available for on-camera interviews. I'd be happy to obtain answers to any questions you have via email. Please include them in the body of this email. For security reasons, we are unable to download attachments along with the deadline that you'd like the responses. Then it says, there are many misconceptions about my client's organization. So they have a PR firm, especially those propagated by blogs and conspiracy message boards. Modern day Illuminati has no affiliation with Satanism, Luciferianism, Lucifer, or any single religion. I believe it's important to ensure the facts are presented accurately, since the majority of existing articles are based on biased information. So IlluminatiOfficial.org and Illuminati.am is also their website. So I see they're on Facebook or on Twitter. So I followed them. And now I've got all these Illuminati people following me.
Right.
They all started following me.
Hey, you got to be careful what you ask for. You're the one swimming in that pond. You can't be surprised.
I just wanted to lurk. I was just following so I could see what they were posting. I was kind of curious what they did. And then all of a sudden I get all these follows and I'm like, oh, and they all have seeing eyes and the triangle and all that other symbolism and stuff. Oh God. So we'll see what happens. So I just want you to just check in with me. Okay, make sure I'm around.
Yeah,
okay?
we'll do well checks. We don't hear from you for a couple of days. We'll do some well checks.
A couple.
Whatever. 24
hours
we'll
less.
We'll give you 24 hours. I know you like your alone time.
Oh my God, not that much. So anyway, so that's my big news for the weekend. So there you go.
Is it time for our 2 cents? We haven't given 2 cents for a while.
We have not given 2 cents, have we? Do you have 2 cents?
I need 2 cents. Believe me, I need. I never thought I'd need Pat and JT's 2 cents. Ever.
So Centris Federal Credit Union helping us give you Pat and JT's 2 cents worth. So some ideas of ways that you can kind of clean up your finances for the new year. So if you're thinking, okay, what can I do? Maybe I need to save a little extra money. How can I get a savings account started? We talked about that. Little financial trends that appear to be impulse, or those little like habitual spending habits that you might have, maybe grabbing something just impulsively, can add up to a lot of money every year.
Talk about a practice that helped me is going through. I know this sounds so rudimentary, but going through your checking account at the end of the month and seeing how much you spent on money, whether it's eating out or buying something quick at the gas station or whatever. You don't realize how much that adds up to hundreds of dollars.
It does. If you just cut down on like the really nice stuff, maybe the things that aren't necessary, but they're just nice little splurges, and saying, okay, instead of 3 or 4 times a week, I'm not going to eat out. I'm only going to do it 1 or 2 times a week, and start making your meals ahead of time. And I know it sounds like, oh, geez, I don't want to pack a lunch, but it can make a serious difference. And that might help you pay off a debt somewhere else or start that savings account we were talking about.
And what's more important, paying off a debt, buying a new home, going on a vacation, or buying Starbucks every single day? I would think going on vacation and saving money to pay off debt is much more important. So you can go to centrisfcu.org for more information. You can call them at 402-334-7000. Lots of tips and tricks and also contact info there to get in touch with Centris.
Some great information. And Centris Federal Credit Union has a staff of financial experts that can help you get the year rolling in the right direction.
See, that's our Pat and JT 2 cents. One of these days, it's going to be 5 cents. We're getting there.
I don't know. Compound interest.
Whatever. Yeah, right. Fees. There are no fees. All right. Thank you guys for listening to our show. You can get to us. It's Pat and JT, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. 402-403-9478. Of course, we'll be talking a lot about Bob Saget over the next few days. And make sure you're looking out for the Hollywood Raw interview with Gilbert Godfrey coming up later on today. Thanks for listening.
Pat and JT Podcast, a Hurrdat Media Production.